Hello, welcome back to the Opera Garden. I'm Katie Breathwick, and it is my pleasure to introduce this series at Garsington Opera, celebrating horticulture and musiculture here in this glorious spot at Wormsley. In our last episode, we met Charlotte Tremlin, the head gardener here at Wormsley, and explored the rose garden. Charlotte then showed us how to make a cut flower bouquet. This time, Charlotte's going to show us the herbaceous borders, as well as talking us through how to create the vegetable plot of your dreams. And finally, a drop of musical sunshine. We're delighted to have soprano Mary Bevan with us this week to serenade us from the wildflower meadow. So, without further ado, let's go and find Charlotte in the herbaceous borders.
We're in our herbaceous borders at the walled garden. This is one of the quarters of the garden that was designed by Penelope Hobhouse in 1992. And over the years it's been edited, and we're doing quite a lot of editing as we go along. So the last 5 years we've given ourselves a little project to edit all the garden and get all the shapes back. So we've been working really hard with the shrubs and getting them back into some sort of shape. And sort of making the plants into lovely big groups. So like this lovely Alstroemeria here, coming up with the allium seed heads all coming through. And then the gorgeous Blue Nepeta down the bottom here is just kind of giving us a really lovely contrast of colour. And then the Cotinus behind, those colours look amazing together. So we're just trying to make that so that it flows and then get the nice big groups back together. So, and then we kind of move on to our lovely Cocosmia here in the border, and that gives us another sort of late summer colour. So those are all starting to come. And it's a real change from when we were in the rose garden earlier, where you had all those lovely early summer pinks, and now we're going into the later summer colours, and we have these dual colours that just look great with the light. I mean, we haven't got great light today, but they still ping out in there. So if we walk down this way, we can go and have a look at the new bed that we've been doing. We've been doing something completely different down there. Walking past, I mean, I love this Cephalarium giganteum, which is a really lovely yellow, really soft. Again, it contrasts really well with the Cotinus. So what we're doing now is we've changed this, the bed here, and we've made a completely different style, so that when you come in through the centre of the garden, we wanted to have lots more grasses and more prairie planting, a much more modern style than the big shrubby areas that we've got over there. So we're just trying a new thing. So that's what we want to do. So we'll hopefully next year, when this is all grown up, the guests will see something really different that's not like what we've got in the rest of the garden. I love the Salvia Purple Rain Reticulata, that's really gorgeous. The Eryngium here, these are going to be great. Structural plants, very spiky. In the winter, we cut lots of stuff. We start cutting things back and cut things back to the ground, and then we give everything a really good top dressing of spent horse manure and mushroom compost, and that has a lovely layer, that gives it a really lovely blanket. And then as the winter starts turning into spring, we'll then start feeding the plants, and we'll cultivate through, getting rid of lots of little weed seeds. You hoe those off and leave them, and then they won't come back. So it's a lot of hoeing and cultivating through the spring. Yeah, these plants here have all got supports, and they have supports of hazel, so we spend a lot of time what I call brashing up plants. And so we put hazel stakes all the way around the plant and then turn them in, and that gives the plant a really good support. So we have here one of our arches. We've got several of the arches coming down through the cutting borders here, and this has got a very beautiful Sanders white rose on it. It's got a really lovely scent to it. And they just blossom at this time of year. They're just perfect for this time of year. So maintenance on this, through the winter, we'll come out here in January when the ground's really hard and we can't do anything on the ground, but we can get up high. So we do all our high work in January and February when it's lovely and cold. So you can only spend a certain amount of time because you've got your hands on ladders and on the metal pergola, and then you go running in and put your hands around hot pipes in the greenhouse just to keep warm. And then what we do is there'll be no leaf on this, so you can see the structure, and you take out all the dead, diseased and dying and any crossing stems that you don't want, and then you tie in a framework, and then you go along and you prune all the way along, so that this will probably come off next year, so that bit will come off, that bit will come off, and then that will make new buds for next year, and it will give you the flowers that you see now. And so shall we now go and have a look at the produce garden? Lovely hops on here. That's a really lovely smell. And then we've got campanula over here. Alchemilla mollis, a lovely run of Alchemilla mollis that just gives you a lovely little highlight of limey green with all the dark greens. And then again, the end of the new bed. Lots of little posts in there for the plants that are missing that will come in the autumn. And then through to the centre of the garden with all the box spirals. Sort of French feel to this section of the garden. You can imagine somebody playing ball here. And again, another beautiful arch of roses into the produce garden. And this is Frances E. Leicester. We've still got loads of really beautiful buds coming on that, and that's going to be, really lovely. It's got a lovely musky smell. Again, a single flowering rose, but it has a lovely sort of rose hips in the autumn, and we use those all the way through Christmas and into for flower arrangements at Christmas and all the way through into the New Year. So here we are in the veg garden.
Every year here at Garsington during a normal season, we're very lucky to experience recitals from young artists. And why should today be any different? So let's hear a little something from last season's production of The Turn of the Screw. It's not the cheeriest of stories, but let's hear from the young governess. She's arrived in her new home and she's exploring her surroundings and delighting in them. And in the words of Henry James, she sings, "The birds fly home to these great trees. Here I too am at home, alone and tranquil and serene."
He could see how well it is.
So here we are in the one of the glass houses here at the walled garden, and this is just our tomato house. So tomatoes need completely different conditions to things like cucumbers, so you can struggle growing the two vegetables in the, or a fruit, a tomato, together in the same greenhouse. So we keep this greenhouse just as tomatoes. It's hot, and the plants get watered every single day without fail, same amount of water every day to produce these lovely trusses. So this one is a cherry tomato. As you can see, it's just about to start ripening, and we plant the tomato plant. It's about this size when it goes in, and we'll plant it so that it's got a string coming from the ceiling, tying round the base of the plant, and then we can twist the plant round it and it keeps it really straight. So here, obviously, we've got the warmth and the light in here. We've managed to get them in early, so we can leave these till we've got about 5 trusses. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In fact, we've got 6 on there. So we're going to leave that there, and then that top will be just taken out like that, so it won't produce any more trusses. The other thing that you do to keep these tomatoes ripen properly is to take off all these lower leaves. So you can see we've been starting to take them off to show the fruit, so that you can get some lovely sunlight on those. And then once they start ripening, you want to reduce the water just a little bit so that the sugars react, and then you get a really sweet tomato. So, shall we go out into the rest of the garden and have a look at what we're doing out there? So, at the beginning of the season, we were asked to grow as many vegetables as we could possibly grow for the family who were here at lockdown, and for all the staff, and for all the tenants on the estate. So that came to about 100 people. So what we did, we don't have the space to grow for 100. So what we've done is we've grown plants for everybody. So everybody on the estate had plants that they wanted to grow. So we had tomatoes, cucumbers, courgettes, all those sorts of things that they could take home, and beans. And then we've grown the rest of the plants here, and then we produce and we pick twice a week, 3 times a week of all the stuff. And at the moment we're harvesting really beautiful broad beans. And these are really amazing, just eaten raw like that. Tiny little delicate things, beautiful. I love those. So lots of lovely courgettes on here, and I think they're the best when they're really lovely and small. And again, just cutting them at the base. There's a perfect courgette, and you can eat that raw and put that in your salad, grate it or put it in an omelette, or just eat it raw. Gorgeous. So I think, why don't we go and have a look and see whether we can sow some salad for doorsteps and things like that. Let's go this way. And so I thought we would do some sowing of salad, and this is one I bought from home. So this is just a cut and come again mix of salad leaves. I've been munching my way through it. It's a sort of spicy mix, which I quite like, with rocket and all the sort of spicy green leaves. So I thought I'd do the same here, using a wine box, because not everybody has this space. So this is what we do. So I've prepared a seed bed. So I've sifted lots of soil into here to give us a nice little seed bed. I've used the watering can and just given it a very light water, so that's nice and damp now. And then what I'll do is get the seeds. This is one, I haven't got my glasses on, there we go. This is the lovely Chiltern seeds, and this is a mix of the same leaf, and it's from Chiltern Seeds, lovely local supplier, and they do some really nice stuff. And all I'm going to do with this is just broadcast sow it, and I'm just going to go. Couldn't be easier, really. And you just broadcast sow all the way along. Give me a nice, and that's all you do there. And just give it a little tamping down so that those seeds are in contact with the soil, because you want them to be straight away in contact. And then with my sieve, I just give it a little light dressing, just to cover them over, tamp it down a bit with our little tamping board, and again that top is covered, Always label it because you don't know what you've got. And again, give it a little light, and then in about 3 weeks' time, you'll have that to cut from for your salad in the evening. So I thought we'd do that. So cut and come again salad. This is it, and all you do is go in, cut your little bits. You might need a little wash, but you keep cutting what you need every day, and that will grow again. It will give you another little crop, and then once it's exhausted, then you can re-sow. So all I would do then is pull that out completely and re-sow in this same compost.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. I do hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Opera Garden here at Garsington Opera. Next week, we're hoping to take you to somewhere you've probably come to know very well. It's the beautiful garden that surrounds Garsington's Opera Theatre. So I hope you can join us then. In the meantime, we leave you with some beautiful music. Let's hear from Mary Bevan, who's going to sing to us from the Wildflower Meadow.
And gently through my soul, sweetest bells are ringing. Speed you forth, my little song of springtime blithely singing, of springtime blithely singing. Speed you onwards to a house where sweet flowers are ringing. If perchance a rose you see, say I sent her greeting. Say I sent her greeting.